Welcome, my friends. Silouan here. Hopefully you listened to the last episode where I talked about Dr. Daniel Amen. And is this good for my brain? Is it bad for my brain? Which I then sort of segued into, is this good for my soul? Is it bad for my soul? And something that I've been thinking about a lot since I first heard him on the podcast I was listening to, this idea that when he takes a brain scan and he actually lets someone see their brain and the impact of their bad diet, behaviors, habits, whatever it may be, it kind of opens our eyes because you can't ignore it. You know, it's hard to say, you know, this excess weight isn't really bad for me, or this smoking isn't bad for me, or this alcohol isn't bad for me when you see the result in your brain. And then I got thinking about our souls and all the things that we do that hurt our souls, yet how do you take a picture of your soul? And then I got thinking, well, how do you get an honest image of your soul? And one of the things he said in the podcast, it really made sense to me, you know, is that, and he got this as a Christian, you know, things he'd read in the Bible, that you can judge the soul of a country by how it treats those who are in prison, the most vulnerable, because they are, regardless of what you think about them or what they've done. You know, they may be some kid that got into trouble because they were a knucklehead. It might be some woman who was an addict or a prostitute. It might be a really bad person, a monster who, you know, killed a bunch of people. But all of them are in the most vulnerable situation you can be in. They're incarcerated. They're locked up, you know, under guard by penalty of death if they try to leave. And how you treat them, as he put it, is really the best way to get a picture of the soul of the nation. Well, how do we do that for ourselves? And it's how we treat the least of these. But it's even greater than that, because afterwards, last night I was reading through my Bible, and you know, and before I get into this, I don't do this a lot, you know, just read right from the Bible. But you know, even if you're not a Christian or a believer, or you believe some other faith, to me this applies to all of us. Like, whatever our conscience is, you can call it chemical reactions, I can call it a soul, whatever that is. But whatever that thing is that gives us our identity of who we are, how do we get a picture of how healthy it is? How do we get a picture of what the state of it is? And I believe it's that. And ultimately, I think you can only truly treat the least of us well if you have love in your heart, period. And it's remarkable when you read through the New Testament, how much of it is about how we are to act and treat others. You know, we want to make, faith sometimes about, I'm saved, I'm not going to go to hell, I'm going to go to heaven, or it's about me, what's God doing for me? But so much of this is about what we are doing for other people. So in 1 John, there's a long section, and basically, you know, it's to believers, and it's kind of telling them how to act. And I'll start with 1 John chapter 3, verse 11, and I'm going to go to the end. And I will stop and comment as I go through this, because this is how we are supposed to act. But I want you to think of it this way. This is how we take a picture of our soul. If you want to know the state of your soul, if you want to know if the things you do every day are leading to a soul that is one of love and humility, or it is a soul of selfishness and self-centeredness, okay, and anger, and all those bad things. Ask yourself, how are you doing with this? This is the message you have heard from the beginning. We should love one another. You know, think about that. What is he basically saying? What's the main message? What's the fundamental message of what we should be doing? Loving one another. We must not be like Cain, who belonged to the evil one and killed his brother. And why did he kill him? Because Cain had been doing what was evil and his brother had been doing what was righteous. Think about that. When we do bad things, when our soul is dark, we take it out on other people. When our soul is light, we help other people. But when our soul is dark, we take it out on other people. So don't be surprised, dear brothers and sisters, if the world hates you. Which makes sense. If people are dark and you're light, the dark are not going to like you. If we love our brothers and sisters who are believers, it proves that we have passed from death to life. But a person who has no love is still dead. Anyone who hates another brother or sister is really a murderer at heart. And you know that murderers don't have eternal life within them. We know what real love is because Jesus gave up his life for us. Now, again and again, there's the example that the greatest sign of love that God gave us was Jesus dying. Well, apply that to yourself. What's true love? You're willing to die for somebody. You're willing to sacrifice whatever you need to help someone else. Maybe it's the last $5 in your pocket and you're using it to go get some lunch, but you're kind of healthy. You got food at home and you give that money to someone who's poor. You give that money to somebody in need. See, that is a picture of your soul. But if you go, I'm more important than you, okay, you're going to be a bum anyway, whether I give you this money or not. You're dark. You're dark. And you know what's kind of interesting is they may just be the light and you don't even know it. So we also ought to give up our lives for our brothers and sisters. If someone has enough money to live well and sees a brother or sister in need but shows no compassion, how can God's love be in that person? Now think about that. If you have enough money to pay your bills and you are not willing to help somebody who is poor, help somebody in need, you do not have love in your heart. It's probably true. And let me just say something. This is not, I think somebody else should give that person money. That's not love. Okay? Sitting in your sofa going, yeah, I think the government should give all these people. That's not love. Love is you getting up and helping somebody else. It's relationship. Because you know what? This and talking about what somebody else should be doing just turns to anger. Looking in the mirror, talking about what I should be doing, okay, it puts the camera back on ourselves and we realize, do I have love? Am I doing this? So if you got money in your pocket, don't use that to go buy popcorn and then watch, news and talk about what other people should be doing. Don't buy the popcorn. Take that money and go give it to somebody in need. Dear children, let's not merely say that we love each other. We're really good at that, aren't we? Let us show the truth by our actions. Our actions will show that we belong to the truth, so we will be confident when we stand before God. Even if we feel guilty, God is greater than our feelings and he knows everything. Now, guilt a lot of times will hold us back. Guilt and shame are like chains. We've done things in our past that are bad. It's hard to even think that we can be good. And we just want the feeling to go away. And one thing I found over the years and all the work I've done, whether it was when I was working in prisons or with veterans or with first responders or with children in a school, is that when you help another person, when you truly love somebody, that guilt and shame just kind of melts away. Now, Lord knows it can come back, and Lord knows we're surrounded in a world with a bunch of darkness that's going to do everything it can to get in your head and make you feel like you're full of guilt and shame. But if you can just overcome it to get up off the couch and get out of your house and go help someone in need, it melts away. And the more you do it, the more it melts away. And our hope is eventually we can replace that darkness with nothing but light. Now, dear friends, if we don't feel guilty, we can come to God with bold confidence, and we will receive from him whatever we ask because we obey him and do the things that please him. And this is his commandment. We must believe in the name of his Son, Jesus Christ, and love one another just as he commanded us. Those who obey God's commandment remain in fellowship with him and he with them. And we know he lives in us because the Spirit he gave us lives in us. So, it doesn't matter, in my opinion, whether you're an atheist, a Buddhist, a Christian, a Southern Baptist, a kayakist, a CrossFitist, a powerliftist, whatever it is you believe, okay? If you really want to judge what that has done to the state of your soul, who you are, okay? What is your real value in the eye of God or the universe? Do you love other people? And how do you love them? And is it unconditional? And do you only love the people that it's easy to love? Easy to love a cute little baby. Easy to love someone who's nice to you. Easy to love someone you want something from. But how do you treat the people that aren't nice to you? How do you treat the people that want something from you? How do you treat the people that have done horrible things and now they're in prison and they live like animals and we treat them like animals? You're going to treat them like an animal? You're going to treat them like a human being? Or are you going to love them? So my challenge to you today, my friend, would be this. Take a picture of your soul. Ask yourself, how much do I love? How much do I give to those? And I don't mean what's my opinion of what others should do, or the government should do, or a nonprofit should do, or somewhere we're going to know. What should you do? What do I do to show my love to those who might not deserve it? But if I was truly filled with light, I would be giving it to them. And then before you become overcome with guilt and shame, maybe at the answer to that, man, just go do something nice. Just go to the grocery store and find the person working the checkout line who looks like they're having the worst day, and go through that line and just smile at them and say thank you. Or, find someone on the street who looks like they're down on their luck and just give them $5. Hey, hope you have a better day. I don't care what it is. Heck, really go outside of yourself and maybe grab a few people from church or from friends of yours or from wherever and, go to the local jail and say, hey, is there anyone here who wants to visit? Anyone here been here a while? No one comes to see them? Maybe go to a prison. I promise you this, there's a lot of men and women in our prisons that nobody comes to see them. One of the saddest things that I learned all those years ago, spending time in Pendleton, maximum security prison, is one of the things that the inmates told me, the guards told me, the chaplains all told me, is that after about 4 or 5 years, nobody comes to visit you. It don't matter how big your family is. It does not matter how much you loved your wife or your kids. After about 4 or 5 years, they don't come. It's too hard. They move on with their lives. You get out of touch. You don't know what's going on in the world, and you're alone, and no one comes to see you. And that's when they start getting institutionalized. And you see some of these men and women, and they're almost like zombies because they're devoid of hope, they're devoid of contact, and most importantly, they're devoid of love. So who's going to give it to them? So take a picture of your soul. Ask yourself, how have I been doing? How have I been giving love to others? And then find a way, just a way today, one little thing. It doesn't have to be a big deal, to change that picture just a little bit. Love somebody who doesn't deserve it. Love somebody who needs it. Love somebody who hasn't had it in a long time. Be an act of kindness. It can be a kind word. It can be money. It can be effort. Doing their leaves. Cutting their grass. I don't care what it is. That's all that matters. That is all. At the end of the day, you know what you're going to take with you when you die? Your soul. What's it look like? I'm Silouan. Great to be with you. Put a smile on your face, please.